Welcome everyone to Overcome Podcast. In today's episode, we probably have the personification of Overcome with this great guest that I'm about to call out. She did everything MMA, jiu jitsu, all over the place, and she's still very active on the sport. Welcome to the show, Lauren Murphy.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. I appreciate that.
Absolutely. Lauren, first of all, how are you doing? I saw your post about your surgery. How are you healing?
I'm doing okay.
Yeah.
I'm kind of propped up on the couch right now, so I can
So tell us a little
have
bit
my.
more about what was that. It was something expected, unexpected.
No, I broke it at practice during a wrestling session, and yeah, I was. I mean, I was lucky enough to get like surgery right away and figure out what was wrong with it pretty quick. There wasn't. I mean, it hurt when it happened, but I didn't have like a lot of pain or anything. So Um, yeah, it's not too bad of a healing time. It's like 4 months. I'll be back on the mats. So
Mm. And you were actually about to start a camp for going back to the octagon, right?
yeah, I didn't have an opponent yet, but I knew that I was kind of coming up on the roster, and I was just starting to get in shape and get my mind ready, get my mind and body ready to get back in there. But that's life. It absolutely cannot happen now. There's no way. So I just gotta do day by day, recover, see where we're at in 4 months, and maybe if we're in a good spot, we'll try again.
This is not something new to you, right? You probably had some other major injuries in the past, and you had to s- stay low profile for a little bit, recover, or is this your first major one?
No, I've had a couple injuries, but it's always been like after a loss or after a fight or something. And so I've never had to sit out when I like really wanted to be in there. It's like I think I had surgery on my other foot. That was a pretty major surgery. But it was like right after I lost to Sajara. I had some other like little stuff, like I got a concussion after a fight one time. And so I mean you're taking downtime anyway,
Hmm.
so it's not that big of a deal. But yeah, this is the first time where I was like raring to go and got stopped.
Well, but your attitude and it seems like you are handling this super well, at least
What can you do?
apparently.
I mean, what else could I? There's literally nothing I could do about it. Like nobody did anything wrong. There was no. It wasn't like nobody. There's nothing to be mad about. It was literally a freak accident. Like that's it. Life goes on, and you just have to move forward with your day. I mean, you could do it with a shitty attitude, but it's just
Hmm.
gonna make things worse, make people not want to be around you, or you could do it with a good attitude and just decide to make the most of it and get the most you can out of it. There's so much stuff I could do right now. So I'm a business owner. Between my husband and I, we own two different businesses, so we're always busy doing that. I have a bunch of instructionals that I won actually at a fucking jujitsu tournament that I won that I haven't even had a chance to watch yet. Like I got all kinds of projects going on and things to do in the downtime. I'll be busy as hell.
This is good. This is good because it's not like this is the only major project you have in life. You have other things going on, and this helps for you to use this time to focus on different things.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, that's how it's always going to be. So, yeah,
But
just really want to focus on the recovery and getting back to getting my ankle to as close to 100% as I can.
but as you said, it feels like it's more a matter of attitude because I was reading some of not on interviews that you did some time ago, and one of that really I was really interested about was back in 2003 after your fight with Jessica Andrade in Brazil, which
Oh yeah.
yeah, you said something that was just so cool. You said that you enjoy every minute in Rio. Besides that 50 minutes, everything was really fantastic. But
Yeah.
there was one thing that you said that really caught you my attention was you said all these experience, the good ones and the bad ones, make me a better athlete and human. Can you
Mhm.
expand on that? Because saying this really after a defeat, it really shows. how you had such an amazing mindset.
Oh, thank you. Well, definitely. I wish I had had a stronger mindset that night for that fight. But, it's like those things do make you a better athlete because when I reflect back on that night, it's like, what happened? I was well trained. I had worked hard through camp, but I had some doubts about my conditioning and I had cut some corners in camp that, like, I just allowed myself to be a little bit lazy with. Um, I let myself get a little bit intimidated right before the fight. And instead of having like a lot of confidence and going out and fighting with a lot of confidence, I went out there like really questioning myself and questioning my skill set. And you just can't do that at a high level because, you end up losing very badly. So those little things that maybe to the normal person sound like nothing, those are the things I need to work on to be a better athlete. How do I become more confident? It's going to take practice, like with my mindset and seeking help and like changing the way that I think about things. How am I going to keep myself from falling into that trap of getting so overconfident that I don't do as much conditioning?
Hmm.
When I looked back at that camp, that's what I saw was like, man, I really got arrogant because I had such a good win over Misha Tate that I cut a bunch of corners in that camp to fight Jessica. And when we were getting ready to walk out, your mind gets so stressed that unless you have a very, very strong mind, it's going to get away from you. And that's what happened really is my mind got away from me and I kind of checked out before we even got into the octagon. But I had to look back on that, like, why did I check out? And that was some of the reasons I came to is I cut a lot of corners, leading up to that fight. And that's on me. And like, what was my mindset in cutting those corners? Because that's not like me as an athlete to do that. But there it was, I couldn't deny it. I'd done it. And so that's just more experience to put in my back pocket. Like when I talk to other athletes that are coming up, or when I do other fights, or when I have other athletic events, these are all experiences that I can draw on that make me a better coach and make me a better person and make me a better athlete.
And it's super interesting because you did exactly the opposite when you were bounced back after losing for Valentina. You came back to Misha Tate and you destroyed, right? So it was exactly the opposite. After a big defeat, then you will really focus and you did your best.
Exactly. Yeah. So it was like the same thing. Like I fought Valentina. I took what I could from that fight. And one of the things that I took from that fight was like how focused she was in the octagon. And I had never fought anybody that was like that before. And so I took that with me into my next fight with Misha. And I did that to Misha. And like, uh, I beat Misha so badly that then I got a little bit arrogant and I thought I had it all figured out. And I was like, oh, yeah, I know what I'm doing now. I got this. And so I cut some corners for my next fight, which was against Jessica Andrade. And so it's like lessons are learned all the time where Valentina taught me how to be more focused and how to be more confident and how to be even scarier in the octagon. And then the fight with Misha, like, gave me a lot of confidence. And then the fight with Jessica Andrade taught me that, like, even through that confidence, you need to stay humble enough to work hard.
Do you also agree? Because I asked this question for many athletes, and there is a common answer to that. But do you also agree that you learn way more on your losses than on your victories?
I just think that honestly, that kind of just depends, like, what kind of athlete you are and who you're surrounded by. Because you we all want to win. The best case scenario is that you win, but really the best case scenario is that you find something you could take away from it. It's just so much harder to implement it when you win because you feel so confident and you're so on top of the world and everybody's happy. It's very hard to go to somebody that just won a hard-earned fight and say, hey, you fucked up this, this, and this, and we need to do this better next time because they're going to be like, what, fool, I won, I don't want to hear any of that. So I think it's harder, but if you're a very mindful athlete and if you have some mindful coaches around you, it's totally possible.
Nowadays, you also coach. So when one of your athletes had really a good victory, do you still find the space to give uh, uh, improvements, feedback on how things could go even better?
Yeah, for sure. When I fought Misha, actually the guy that I had in my corner, I'd never used him before, and he was my head coach for the fight with Misha. And after the fight, he gave me like I think like a week or two to kind of process everything and come down off my high. And he was like, okay, I have, three things that I want to share with you for feedback from this camp. And he gave me three really good pointers that he told me was like, hey, if you want me to keep coaching you, then I want you to work on these three things for your next camp because I don't think they're acceptable for an athlete of your caliber to be doing these things. And so it was things like, showing up late. That's not going to be acceptable anymore. There was a couple other things that he had put on there that it was like, if you want me to keep coaching you, you have to fix these things. And I'm glad we won, but these, to get to the next level and stay at the next level, you have to be mindful of that kind of stuff. So there's definitely a way to give your athlete feedback even on a win.
Yeah, definitely. It's just, as you said, it's just sometimes harder for the athlete that is on that hype to absorb things and not ignore.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think that these lessons learned definitely help to build up. And do you carry on a lot of these things to your business as well? Because I find that most of the people that own a business and they have an athletic background, they do so well because there are so many lessons learned from these sports that you can bring to the business. Do you also implement some of those things into your business?
Yeah, 100%. There's stuff that I learned like or stuff that I did as an athlete that taught me about choices. It's like when you choose to be an athlete and you choose to fight, then you're making this choice that you're going to, you're going to do this really cool thing, but you're sacrificing other things. And it's the same thing with running a business. Being a business owner is great. I love being a business owner. I love working for myself. I love bringing my product to Houston, but also like that being said, that means I have to sacrifice a lot. It means I'm going to be working nights and weekends when I don't want to. It means I'm going to be taking money out of my own pocket. It means I'm going to be serving the public. It means that I'm going to have to be doing like promotions and ads and marketing and shit that I might not really want to be doing, but that's the price you have to pay in order to be, your own boss, in order to be a business owner, enjoy the fruits of that labor. That's the life I want to live for myself. So those kind of, it's like accountability.
Hmm.
That's what I learned as an athlete, is that I'm accountable for myself. I'm accountable for how successful my business is. I'm accountable for how successful I am as an athlete, and what I put into it is what I'm going to get out of it. And so,
And I also I'll add on top of that you probably do is I think is resilience, right? Because as an athlete, if you don't have resilience and you don't know how to come back after a setback, in business, mainly in the gene space, you may have fluctuations. You may have a good season, a bad season, but you gotta keep working, right?
Yeah, exactly. You might have days where, nobody shows up to your class, and you can't let that get you down. You might have days where you have 35 people show up. You can't get too high on that either. So my husband is a really great jujitsu coach. He's wonderful. And he was head coach at a jujitsu school that was down the road. And it opened right when COVID hit. And so everything was kind of empty. They kept the gym open under these like great, I mean, we're in Texas, so they didn't have like that many regulations, but they kept the gym open. But there were many, many nights where he would have one student or no students. And this went on for months and months, and it was like, is the gym going to make it? And he was like, I don't know. But that's, as an athlete and as somebody that's competed before and somebody, that has that kind of drive, it's like you just keep showing up and keep building. And now, years later, there's not even enough room in the building for all the kids that they have that
That's
come to the
amazing.
classes. But yeah, resilience is definitely part of it. Not giving up, like, um, not giving up when things aren't really going your way.
Right.
It's like you got to find a way or make one.
Yep. I'm also in Texas. I'm in Dallas, and I know exactly what you're talking
Mm.
about during COVID. A lot of
Yeah.
we were kind of lucky to have a lot of gyms and places that open up earlier compared to the rest of the United States. But that's definitely a great example of resilience right there. And since you are in these both words, MMA, Jiu-Jitsu, is your base? If you would say my base is sports, this martial art. So is your base Jiu-Jitsu or is your base really striking or anything?
So I really did start like MMA pretty quickly after I started grappling. I started in jujitsu, but it was like within a few months I'd gone to MMA. So if you were to say, I've trained MMA for 15 years, I've trained jujitsu for 15 years, like, it kind of sounds like all the same, but I do prefer grappling. I'm strong, like I'm kind of shorter, I'm built like I'm just like broad shouldered and very muscular. And grappling favors me like that because I'm so strong. I love body locks. I love getting into like people's personal space, and taking them down. And um, I prefer grappling quite a bit.
And do you prefer gi or no gi?
Oh, no gi for sure. I get torn up in the gi, honestly.
But do you do gi at all?
I do. Even teach in the gi a little bit. I've competed in the gi quite a bit. I competed in the gi a lot as a purple belt and a little bit as a brown belt.
Yeah, that's interesting how Texas became this amazing place for jiu-jitsu with so many great academies and great jiu-jitsu coaches and practitioners, and it's really a powerhouse for sure. Um,
Yeah.
with the surgery, you said that 4 months is the when you're gonna probably gonna be back to train to grapple and things like that. But physical therapy will start way earlier than that, right? Probably in 1 month or two.
Yeah. I think they put a plate and 5 screws in my ankle, and it's gonna take 6 weeks for it to heal. It takes 6 weeks for bone to heal. So what's that? We're in the middle of April, all of May. So right around June 1st, I'll be able to start PT and stuff. Um, and start like, getting mobility back, and strengthening all the muscles around that ligament. And I imagine we got to do that for at least like 6 weeks. So that's like 12 to 13 weeks right there. So, yeah, about a 3.5 to 4 month timeline before I'm even like back at practice.
But you probably can go to the pool at your gym way earlier than that and start doing some deep workout there, right? I mean,
I hope
I
so.
talked to
My breath
Diego.
hold.
Yeah, Diego was very excited about the work you do and everything. It's amazing the
Hmm.
whole concept of working out underwater. I didn't know that until I talked to Diego.
Yeah, it really is a cool concept. I love it. It's very different. It's very unique and it's very, very useful. So, the water is just such a great medium for working for like challenging our mind and our body. So that's what makes deep end fitness like so unique is that it's for both mind and body. That's why I think it's so good for fighters
Do
or
you
any
do,
kind of
yeah,
competitor.
but do you think that it improves your cardio, for example? Because you have to hold your breath for so long, and while you're fighting, you have to really continue to breathe differently. So it doesn't actually is it counterproductive or something with to the fight? How you describe the improvement?
That's a really good question. I'm glad you asked that. No, so like holding your breath is more it's more about CO2 tolerance. So the better your body can tolerate CO2, the longer you'll be able to hold your breath, right? So as the CO2 builds up in your system as you hold your breath, if your body has built up like a tolerance to it over time and with practice, you're not going to freak out. That's why some of these guys like the free divers and stuff, they have breath holds that are 3 minutes, 4 minutes. They can stay down there a super, super long time because their body has a very high tolerance to carbon dioxide. So when your body, the better your body can tolerate carbon dioxide, the more efficiently it can use oxygen. So you need to take less breaths when you're tired. If you have like a high tolerance to carbon dioxide, as you're going through whatever motion you're going through and carbon dioxide is building up in your body, you won't need to take as many breaths. So you won't start panting and gasping for breath right away, right? You could be working at a very high rate and keeping your breath rate very low because you have a high tolerance to CO2. So that's how breath holding and CO2 tolerance translates directly to cardio.
That's super interesting. So you definitely
Mhm.
saw an improvement on your cardio once you start working out underwater.
Oh, 100%. Yes, absolutely. 100%.
Interesting. That's a really interesting concept. And how, if you would say, someone was going to establish a workout routine, what you recommend as far as water training, like twice a week, 3 times a week?
Yeah, these are all great questions. So honestly, one time a week is enough to see results. I
Okay.
mean, yeah, so we always tell people that deep end fitness is a supplement for whatever sport they're already doing. It's not like a whole new thing that you have to go do every day to get good at or something. You can literally go once a week, once every other week, and you will see benefits. Now, if you were to go twice a week, you would see benefits at a much like higher rate, but that's not really the point.
Mm-hmm.
Most people come to us because they're part of another sport already. And so we just tell them like, hey, just come once a week, like whatever, either on their rest day or on their half day or something like that. And we can do something low impact with them and they'll still see benefit from it.
When you were prior to the injury, were you training every single day, grappling and going to deep end like twice, 3 times a week? Besides, I know you teach there, but as far as you training, will be like 3 times a week, maybe.
So I teach twice a week. And I go and train myself. Like I'll do my own workouts and stuff once a week
Mm-hmm.
in the pool. I'll go by myself or I'll go with a friend and I'll put myself through the workouts that I do, like that I put like my classes through and stuff. And I'll refine my own swim technique and stuff. So I'll go have like my own swim session. Sometimes I'll even work with another instructor, like a swim coach or something to help me get better at like, my freestyle or something like that. So yeah, I do one time a week of swimming, and then I was getting in other forms of like cardio, like running. um I don't, it just depends. Like I have so many different seasons. If I'm getting ready for a fight, I'm probably going to try to swim twice a week because that's how beneficial it is. But if I'm not getting ready for a fight, then once a week.
And do you do any type of other type of cardio activity, like HIIT workout, CrossFit type related workout, or things like that?
Yeah, if I was getting ready for a fight, I would probably do like a hit workout once a week. I would do a DEF session once a week, and I would do something like a aerodyne bike or treadmill run or something like that. So I would try to get 3 to 4 sessions in of cardio per week, and at least one of them would be a swim session for sure.
That's a lot of calories. I would imagine that you are also consuming a lot of calories.
Oh, I love to eat. Yeah, load up the food. Love it. Yes. That's like half the reason I work out so hard so I can eat whatever I want. In my next life, I'd like to be a food critic.
But do you cut a lot of your normal weight, or do you usually walk with just a little over your fight weight?
No, I weigh like 150 pounds and my fight weight is 125. So it's a pretty decent amount of weight to cut. Usually I'll try to lose about 15 pounds, like solid pounds, and then go into fight week. And just through the process of dehydration over the week, like about 8 pounds of, give or take, of just water. So um, I think that is changing though. A few fights back when I fought Misha Tate, I had a very, very small weight cut. It was much, much smaller than that. And I felt really, really good. And so it was a big, clear indicator to me that less is more when we're talking
Right.
about weight cuts. Yeah.
How was when you in 2023 on your last fight, the one in Brazil? It
Hmm.
was a big cut.
It was bigger than I had anticipated, but not anything crazy. I don't think it affected me the next day.
Yeah, I mean, every athlete has a different perspective on this. Their body will respond differently. I was just watching Kayla saying that she weighed in 135 on Friday, and then on Saturday she was 160. That's a lot of weight.
That's crazy. Yeah, that's so much weight. I mean, to put on 25 pounds, yeah, 35, 40, yeah, 25 pounds. That's a lot.
Yeah, and it, it it didn't really bother her. She was still fast and strong.
Yeah,
It's
she
just
looked
hard on
great.
the body. It's just hard on the body. I think in 24 hours to get
Yeah.
25 pounds.
I mean, there's no way you're going into the fight at 100% if you're cutting weight like that. There's just no way. to put your body through something like that the day before a huge event where you're asking your body to push itself to the max, to its very limit physically. And the day before you're asking it to do that, you're going to dehydrate the shit out of it and then try to pump all that fluid back in. And it takes longer. You know, you have about 36 hours between weigh-ins and the fight, and it takes longer than that for cells to rehydrate. So if you just like that's kind of a simple equation.
Yeah.
You know, like there's no way that it's getting there's no way that you're getting hydrated at a cellular level by the time you're getting back into the octagon. So where's all that fluid going? It has to be outside the cell.
Mm-hmm.
It has to be.
Yeah.
It's outside the cell. It's just extracellular fluid, which means it's just swelling.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's just edema. It's kind of weighing you down. But you know, there's guys that make these huge weight cuts and they do crazy shit and they go out and win all the time,
Yeah.
and they attribute it to the weight cut, but actually it's just because they're crazy good athletes, you know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So I don't know of any solution to weight cutting. Even like one, like they were doing the hydration test and like four dudes just like failed the hydration test like their last fight card. So
Well, what about what IBJJF does to waiting right before the fight?
mm,
You know, that's an
yeah,
option, right?
that's an option. I mean, yeah, that's an option. I mean, with IBJJF though, fools are still bad about it and they're not getting punched in the head. In MMA, it's like if you do that, can you imagine if you dehydrate yourself to make weight and then like you run into the octagon and get kicked in the head? Somebody could die. Somebody probably
Well,
would
but I
die, to be
think that
honest
in
with you.
this situation, people will be more mindful about their weight and avoid a big dehydration, knowing that they are going to walk in the octagon ready to fight right before weighed in. So maybe people will be more mindful to lose weight way before the fight. Uh,
Maybe. We can hope so.
yeah, because at BJJF, I think that one of the things about jiu-jitsu competition is, and the worst part is that if you are competing with the gi, you're gonna weigh in with the gi, which is just the gi itself
Hmm.
is 3 pounds probably if it is a
Yeah.
light one.
Yeah.
So it's an option, but as you said, it's a good point, right? It's not a direct contact type of sport like MMA.
Yeah. Yeah. The only solution I can think of is like we'd have to like keep track of our weight throughout all of camp, you know,
Mm-hmm.
and even in the off season. Like you just have to have fighters report their weight weekly. But there ain't no way. There ain't no way. People be gaming the system. They wouldn't be checking in. It's a huge pain in the ass. There ain't no way. It ain't happening.
Right now, for example, I think that this is also a important point, right? You just had a surgery. Do you kind of alleviate on your diet? Do you eat whatever you want, or do you still very mindful about your portions and what you're eating to not get really to gain a lot of weight? Because you, first of all, you are not even working out right now. So,
Right. Yeah.
so how's your approach in this situation?
I'm definitely watching what I eat a little bit more. So the first couple days after surgery, let's see, I had surgery Friday, so Saturday, Sunday, I was like, whatever, just eat whatever you want. Don't even like limit yourself. And then today I got up and just kind of had a different attitude about it. Like, okay, like I can't gain 35 pounds, if I want to fight this year. So I need to be mindful that I'm trying to heal and I need to get calories. Excuse me, my dogs are trying to invade our interview. So I know I need to get calories. So I just need to be mindful that I'm eating really whole foods, like good whole foods, and not a bunch of junk. And I think if I do that, I'll be just fine.
Yeah, absolutely. And as far as supplementation or things like that, do you have go-to supplements that you take every single time to help you?
No, I was never a big supplement person. When I do take supplements, I'll take beta alanine like before a workout, and I'll take creatine. And those are kind of the only two that I really mess with. Maybe some hydration stuff, but
Well, that's
yeah.
good. But what about recovery? When you think about recovery, do you have any special routine, cold plunge? A lot of people doing
Mm,
that, or any type of
yeah.
routine that you do for recovery.
Yeah, if I'm really beat up, sore, tired, any of that, then I have found that a cold plunge is like the number one best cure. So I'll do it, but it has to be cold. It can't be like 50 degrees or whatever. It can't be any bullshit. Like it's got to be cold. You know, you get in and at least 3 minutes, get your hands in, do a little head dunk, and then I get into a hot tub. And so you can repeat that as many times. Like they have it set up at the PI. We have it set up here at the house. Some people do it at their own house with like a they just have like a what's it called, like a trough, and
Hmm.
a and then a shower. But yeah, I think contrast therapy like that is really good. And then one thing that works for me if I'm super sore, I'll have a protein shake like right before bed. So I'll just get a shaker bottle and have some protein with water,
Hmm.
like whatever flavor you got laying around, and
Oh,
have it right before
that's
bed.
a supplement.
Yeah, yeah. So I'll just have a little bit of that, like if I'm feeling really beat up, and it doesn't really mess with your weight too much. You know what I mean? It's just protein, but something happens while you sleep that it just helps so much. You feel waking up so much better. You'll wake up feeling so much better.
Yeah. Laurie, for how long you've been doing this consistently? For,
About like 13 or 14 years.
do you still, when you look back with all the things that you already accomplished and now going to the next phase of your career, also owning a business and everything, you just said, I want to fight again this year. What really drives you to continue to pursue more?
The money is one thing. I really like the paycheck. Also, it's just the idea of like walking through something really difficult and having a good attitude about it, Um, it's a really cool thing to do to walk through like a fight camp. It's a cool process to go through and to go through all the like mental battles that you have to go through and all the physical battles that you have to go through. But mostly like the mentality that it takes to go through a fight camp and walk into a fight. It's unique. It's a really unique experience. And getting your hand raised at the end of it is something else. There's nothing like it.
Yeah.
It's the best feeling in the world. So I would love to be able to go feel that one more time. I really want the challenge of like walking through a fight camp. I believe that like I'm a special athlete and that even though I'm 40 years old this year, I believe that I'm a special enough athlete. I have what it takes physically to still beat somebody's ass in the octagon. And so I really, I want to go find out. Like, I want to go find out what I'm capable of and how far I can go.
Do you think that this is one of the reasons why a lot of athletes have such a hard time retiring? Because they miss this adrenaline, they miss this continuous challenge. Because it looks like this is what you are thriving for: is the adrenaline, is the challenge, and of course the reward at the end, having your hand raised and everything.
Yeah, I think they get broke and I think they get bored. Yeah.
Well, that's definitely not your case because you have all the business going on. So if you think about, you have other type of challenges with your business and you have other type of thing, but you're still going after like your main passion because you are still striving for those feelings, right?
Yeah. Yeah. That's true. Yeah.
But now, as you said, it's in a whole different level because you said you're just gonna reach 40 this year. For MMA athletes, this is already a very uh, when it comes to longevity, you're already right there. But you still think that it can be done. So now is a matter of you challenging yourself to see what you get.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
amazing.
That's it.
Yeah, that's amazing. I love that. Uh, do you think, because you said one more time, so you think that it will be just one more, or you don't really know?
I think so. I mean, it's like never say never. I don't even know if it's gonna happen. You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
So I hope it does, but I don't even know right now if it's gonna even happen. I'm sitting on my couch, casted up. So it's hard to say. Like I'm gonna do this, that, or the next thing. But yeah, I would like to do one more. I have 2 fights left on my UFC contract, and I've always known like I want to retire in the UFC. I don't want to fight anywhere else. I don't want to go to any other organization. I don't want to, yeah, I don't want to close out the show like anywhere else. I want to retire as a UFC fighter. I'm very, very proud to be a UFC fighter, and that means a lot to me to retire in that organization.
And that means the retirement from the MMA. Probably you still going to compete in jiu-jitsu
Yeah,
later on, right?
for sure. Oh yeah, for sure. I'll still do jujitsu. Yeah, 100%.
Have you done words before?
I won Nogi Worlds as a blue belt, and I won it as a purple belt, and then as a brown belt, I took bronze twice.
So you still have you are still chasing the gold on that level,
Well, I got promoted to black belt, so
right? So
brown
you
belts.
even more
Yeah,
now. You're chasing the gold as a black.
yeah, yeah. So I've yet to make my black belt debut in competition, but I will.
Maybe this will be your first competition this year. Who knows?
Yeah, we'll see.
Well,
No foot locks. I'll have to compete for somebody that doesn't do ankle locks.
yeah, maybe you could target for Waco Open in December.
That would be
you're
cool.
gonna be fully healed, and it's right here in Texas. So,
Yeah, that would be cool. Could do the masters division, but I'm telling you, no straight ankle locks. So how do we work that out?
well, you had to work on your defense way more now.
Yeah, don't let him grab it. Okay.
Well, it's an amazing journey for sure, Laurie. And do you think that this is what's next for you? Is really work on this rehab and wait to see what is next when it comes to your business? What is next for the business?
So for Deep End Fitness, we're just plugging away and growing. We have 2 locations now. We offer 5 classes throughout the weeks. Well, we offer classes on, let's see, 4 days throughout the week, five classes. Yeah. So um, we have a lot of options for the city of Houston. I'm just pumped to bring it to them, man. And so I just want to keep growing that all the ways that I can. We have special seminars and special classes for all different groups. It's really a game changer. It's very empowering. It's a really cool thing to bring to the community. And then we also own Henzo Gracie Pearland. So I want to get the women's community growing there really badly. I want to get a women's class started. I want to start doing seminars there. I've partnered with Alchemized Fightwear. They're amazing. They are a fightwear company for women by women. And so they sponsor a ton of seminars for females to go to. And I'm working with them to get a seminar going at our gym. So I have a lot of good stuff coming up in the works.
Amazing, amazing. And I was talking to Diego when I was interviewing him, and he said that one of the pools is heated and the other one is not. Because I was talking to him during the winter. I said, "Does anyone actually go to the pool that is not heated during the morning class? Because it's kind of cold, isn't it?"
Yeah. Yeah, even the heated one, people are like not happy to get in it.
Yeah, it's definitely a very cool exercise. And I saw when I actually saw the footage, it was a type of marine type of training doing, and that's really what drew my attention because looks like the Marines they do something similar.
Yeah, they do. Yeah, it was a program that was born out of a military recon program. So they made it, they took it down a few notches and made it accessible to the public.
How long you been doing that, Laura?
Uh, a year and a half.
And it was you that brought Deep End to Houston.
Well, I wanted to, and so I called Deep End Fitness, and they introduced me to Diego. And Diego was already thinking about it, talking about it, wanted to, and so we decided to just partner up, and it's been a really good partnership.
Awesome. And do you plan to expand outside of Houston?
Maybe our plan right now is just to expand in Houston first before we worry about conquering the world.
Well, it's something that we definitely should have something like this in here in Dallas.
There is one in
There
Dallas.
is
They're opening
well,
one up very
really? Oh,
soon.
they are
Yeah.
opening soon.
Uh-huh.
Okay, okay.
Yeah, or go look on the website as soon as we're done here because I know for sure we just lost an instructor to those guys. And so I don't know when they're opening, but it should be soon.
Awesome. Lauren, thank you so much for taking this time right after your surgery. I wish you all the best on your rehab and continue to just stay motivated and to really leading by example. A lot of people is inspired by that. I appreciate.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Sorry about the
No,
dogs.
that's a special participation for sure. It's amazing.
Yeah. This is how they train me.
All right, everyone. This is a wrap for today's episode. Stay tuned. We have much more to go.